Hey everyone, it's Sean with Pew Pew Tactical, and we spend a lot of time on 9mm. You have a lot of fun in that area, but today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're shooting 5.7. So you might ask, what are you shooting 5.7 with? The Ruger 5.7. And this has been something I've been wanting to try for quite a while. We're going to jump right into this review coming up, but before we do, I have one favor to ask. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Make sure you let YouTube know that you love our content. Tell a friend about us. In exchange, we'll play this crazy gun meme for you. Now, I've always been told in film school never to turn my back to the camera, but here it comes. So what is it? Ruger's 5.7, their version of this pistol. It's a polymer framed, internal hammer fired, steel slide, and has a capacity of 20 plus 1. And we'll get into some of these specific features coming right up. Okay, so let's talk about ergonomics. Now the 5.7 being a longer round is going to create some challenges as far as the grip is concerned. So you can see with this grip, pretty wide from the back strap to the front strap, very wide, but that's in order to accommodate that longer 5.7 chambered round. Overall, good curvature, good grip angle on the 5.7 here. And you can see the metal mags slide in and drop nice and clean. Also, there's a good beaver tail on the back here, so my hand can get good and deep on that. It looks like it would be pretty comfortable for most fits. Now, the safety runs on both sides of the slide in the rear, so that's accessible for everybody there. You don't have a slide release on this side, but there is a slide release on this side that I can get to without adjusting my grip too terribly much. The magazine release, however, even though I have 2X size hands, kind of tough to get to. I have to rotate a little bit forward in order to access it. But still, the fact that you're accounting for a 5.7 round in there with the steel magazine, Ruger's doing pretty well as far as the ergonomics are concerned. I can tell there's a bit of a bevel right here. There's a well that's been hollowed out a little more to allow access. A little bit of an undercut right here on the trigger guard. Good room within the trigger guard itself. And then, of course, an accessory rail up front. You've also got these slide serrations, front and rear, which are very nice. And then, of course, Ruger cut the top of the slide here. But again, overall, really good ergonomics on this gun. ¿A dónde va? Manos arriba. No se mueve. Manos arriba. Hey. Hey. So one of the interesting things about the Ruger 5.7 and just 5.7 in general is that it has quite a bit in common with a rifle cartridge just based on its shape. And so that makes the feed lips a little bit different on the magazines. Now when you drop a round in and you typically push down that follower and then slide it back with your handgun calibers. This one has more in common again with rifle because you come back to the feed lips and just push it straight down. You want to make sure that the tip of the bullet itself is actually clearing the front of the magazine. So again, line it up straight back and then push it straight down. And this is much easier once you've done it a few times, because if you start out trying to push the rounds down and in and back, you're going to have all kinds of issues. But once you get used to it, again, it's pretty straightforward. So the Ruger 5.7 is optics capable, some milling on the top of the back of the slide, but there's really not a lot of room above the barrel. There's a pretty flat height over bore axis here. It's just very low. You've got an issue where there's not a lot of room to remove material to set that down, set the optic down a little bit lower. So what they've done is there's a couple of holes in a flat spot on the top right here in front of the back sight, and you mount a plate to that. You have to buy the plates separately, and then you get the plate for your optic, then you mount your optic to that plate. Now today, for accuracy, we're using the ARO from Pew Tactical, and we're going to shoot 5-shot groups from 7 yards and just see how it groups up. Okay, so let's go check them out. All right, so we started over here on the bottom right, and I'm just kind of getting used to the lack of recoil and where the trigger was going to break. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But on the second group, you can see automatically I'm getting used to the trigger, able to pull those groups in. I would say that's just under an inch. And then once again up here with this last group, repeated again, a couple in the same holes there. So the gun is very accurate. Oh man, we are having a grand time testing out the Ruger 5.7. But if you want all the juicy details, head over to the website, pewpewtactical.com, for the full review. All right, so let's talk about the trigger here. We've got a polymer, kind of a gentle shoe curve here. And there's also a safety on the trigger. And it flattens out with the surface of the trigger. So I appreciate that. I don't feel it once I get that depressed. And then I'm going to pull it back here. There's a wall right there immediately. And then I'll just keep pulling back until it breaks. Little bit of travel after you've hit the wall, but then it does break pretty nicely. Release to reset. Almost 3/4 of the way back, I would say. Pretty soft reset, but it is audible and it is tactile. So again, we'll press all the way to here where we get a firm wall, break the shot, and reset. Right there. We are just about to finish with the Ruger 5.7, but before we do, I want to ask you one more time, hit the like and subscribe button. Let YouTube know you love our content. Final thoughts on the Ruger 5.7. This has been a lot of fun. One of the best things about the 5.7 cartridge, you get a lot of capacity. Once you get past the weirdness of stuffing those 20 round mags, you realize just how much extra capacity you've got compared to normal handguns, which, you know, with extended mags, it's not that much, but still with a normal standard capacity, flush fit magazine, you're having 20 rounds in there. Those 5.7 are notably a lot softer shooting than 9mm or other chamberings. So you can run the gun really fast. This thing is also very accurate. We tested it out multiple times, got groups that were an inch or less, somewhere in there from 7 yards. Really good as far as accuracy. Didn't talk about the sights, but they have a really nice set of sights. There's a blacked out serrated rear in the back, and then front has very high vis fiber optic green up front. Those will be really nice if you're not using the red dot option. Now, the one negative thing that we ran into was some problems with feeding. There was definitely a break-in period. Once we got to around 300 rounds, we didn't have any more issues. We had a couple of times where we had failures to extract and also failures to feed. Just some problems with getting it out of the magazine and up into the actual chamber. So we continued to work with it, took it down, lubed it up really well, put it back together, kept shooting. Now, unfortunately, we only have Federal American Eagle, so we don't have a wide variety of different ammo to test out. Federal was great. They all did wonderfully, but we didn't have a wide variety to run through the gun to see if it had a preference for something like that. As far as I can tell, it's clear. It's done with those problems. It's trucking along really well now. But other than that, I would say it's a good purchase, especially if you have compatibility with like the Ruger's 5.7 carbine. These magazines will run in that gun, to my knowledge. We've reviewed that gun, really liked it as well. This gun is coming in around $719 at a few different retailers that we've seen. And again, I think it's a great option. It has some upgraded features over some of those older 5.7 models that have been out and around for a long time. But again, a great option at $719 if you want to come into a 5.7 pistol. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.